This 2013 movie, it features a very strong performance from British actor Tom Hardy. It is Locke. This is a forgotten classic. Really, it's just a movie that's forgotten, although I want it to be a classic. I think it has a lot of merit. Let me tell you why. Coming up next. I saw Locke when it came out in 2013, maybe 2014. I really liked the movie a lot. I was surprised that Tom Hardy didn't get more Best Actor nominations for a variety of awards. And I just rewatched it and was stunned. Hey, this is an A24 movie. Many of you know the really good movie studio that's put out a number of great movies in the last 9 to 10 years. Locke is the 8th feature film. I didn't know what it was back when I saw it first, but now I do. This is an A24 film. That should perk up some of your ears. Now, Locke is one of those single-room, real-time movies. It features only one actor, although a lot of voiceover actors, some of whom you know, Olivia Colman, Tom Holland, a bunch of people. But Tom Hardy is the only actor who appears in this movie, and he's in his car the entire time, driving from a construction site to London over a 90-minute runtime. Now that means the movie visually doesn't have a lot of variety. It's a camera showing a guy in a car driving a car at night. That means to me that the sound drives this movie, is the propeller of this movie, the engine of this movie, where the visuals are kind of an accent. It's kind of the opposite of what movies normally are, where you have the visuals very strong and rich and complex, and then the sound is kind of an accent or helper. That's the way a lot of people see a lot of movies, but in this movie, it's super instructive to watch a movie that you could listen to as a radio play or a podcast, but it wouldn't work very well that way. Instead, I think the visuals are really hypnotic and they drone on and on while the sound is rich and varied. Interesting movie that way.
What's happened?
Will you get to the phone upstairs?
What's happened?
Just go to the phone in the bedroom and I'll tell you what's happened.
Now, the plot is very basic, but it's interesting because Ivan Locke in this movie has to make a series of phone calls in his car. You can hear a lot of phone calls as he connects to different people in his life, and he has to tell them, well, a secret. Now, if you don't want this movie to be spoiled, just go ahead and go watch it. I'm going to spoil the first 15 minutes of the movie and leave the rest up to you, though. His secret is that he's a baby daddy. He actually has fathered a child, or he's going to father a child with an older woman, a 43-year-old woman who's lonely and was alone. He made a mistake a year ago, and now he's living up to it. He chooses at the very beginning of the movie, very interesting ethical choice. Thinking about this character's psyche and why he's making this choice is really one of the things this movie probes. But he chooses to go and help this woman out in the hospital as she's giving birth to their child. By the way, he's married with 2 children of his own, and he's not told anybody about this secret baby that he's going to have. So in the car, he's going to tell his wife, hey, I messed up. I'm going to have a child. And he's going to tell that to other people too.
Have you even told your wife that someone's having your baby?
I'm about to do that. I have a list of things that I have to do tonight when I'm driving.
So am I on a list?
Yes, tonight, yes.
Now, along with that very serious problem, he also it's terrible timing, has a construction pour on the largest concrete pour in Europe, other than nuclear and military. I think it's a skyscraper. And so that very next day, he's supposed to oversee a construction pour, a concrete pour, but he's going to have to miss it because he's going to go to the hospital. He's chosen to go to the hospital to help this woman out and meet his new baby. So Locke is basically trying to fix, and he says this several times, we're going to fix these problems, fix 2 things. One, his problem with his wife and his children, telling them he's having a child by another woman. And 2, the concrete pour isn't going to go off well. He's got to trust an assistant who is getting drunk on the phone. He doesn't seem very trustworthy, hesitant. A guy named Donald, who he calls several times. And during the middle of this movie, yep, he's fired from his job, but he decides, hey, I'm going to help this concrete pour out and try to coordinate everything in the car, even though he's been fired. So he's having problems with his job, vocation, and with his family. Sort of a nightmare of a night for this man. Very interesting to watch Tom Hardy play this really complex, messed up, but very calm and sedate figure on the outside throughout this entire movie.
Ivan, listen to me. You listen to me. I want the pour to go okay, not because of the money. I want it to go right for myself and for the building, right, and for the concrete. I won't let it be pumped into the wrong place. Do you understand? Tonight and tomorrow I will stay on this and stay on this and make sure the concrete gets poured right.
Anyway, this movie kind of climaxes at the very beginning because Locke comes to a stoplight after getting off work at the construction site, and he chooses to go right instead of left, right to London to go help this woman out, and as he's the father of the baby, instead of going left to go back home. And that really is what makes everything happen in the movie, and Locke has to own up to his choice to go to London, that he sired the baby, and that he's leaving his construction site behind. At times he's going to say, I had no choice. At other times he's going to say, I've made a decision, and this is what I'm going to do. And he's haunted by his father. A really rich stuff in this movie about his own father, who we get through monologues that Tom Hardy's character makes. And he's got a lot of anger at his father. And interesting that this character, on one hand, you see, well, he's making the right ethical choice. He's doing his duty. He's doing what's morally right. And you see him as an upright individual. But you also see that he is making this choice partly because he hates his own father. I think his father's dead. But he hates his own father, carries a grudge, and sort of making the choice here for revenge, which is really interesting. He's got mixed motives to go help this baby out and to go see this new baby. So he's going to be the father of his child, unlike his own father, who was sort of, in the way he talks about his father, a nasty person. What I really like about this movie, among other things, is just watching a man work through a very serious set of problems and difficult situations, trying to approach it calmly. Boy, you don't see that much out modeled very well in the world today. Work through his problems calmly, help other people who are panicking on the phone. He helps several different people, tries to think through practical steps, even though it's kind of impractical to help them when they're emotionally distressed. But it's a really rich, dynamic character that Tom Hardy creates visually and emotionally. And while I do recommend listening to this movie very carefully, it's really great to listen to. And I did say the visuals are kind of an accent. I'm probably stretching things a bit because the visuals do matter. You see these fuzzy lights pass over his face throughout the movie. And you see at times a jittery camera because his car is bouncing up and down as it's going down the highway. And both of that jittery stuff and the fuzzy stuff, I think, is part of the ethical dilemmas that he's facing, the choices, how he's trying to help people out, the emotional distress, the man's psyche as he's getting fired and having problems with his wife. It's wonderful just to watch this movie and see it kind of drone on visually. The director here, Stephen Knight, who's a great screenwriter, can only do so much with a camera, I think, but he does enough. There's enough variety here, but also enough consistent fuzzy lights and jitteriness to sort of bring out the emotional and spiritual richness of this film. And maybe that's another reason to watch this. Stephen Knight's screenplay is really well done, as the parallels should be obvious. Locke is trying to fix things with the baby daddy, and he's trying to fix the concrete pour, and the concrete pour can't have one crack in it, but his own life has developed a bunch of cracks that he can't put together, and maybe that's his life is his own building that's falling down. He takes pride in his building and construction sites, so those sort of overlaps between vocation and personal life are really interesting as well. Anyway, what do you think of Locke? What do you think of this performance? What do you think of everything I said? Let us know in the comments. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.